Hi, this is Arabella Gordon with another episode of SOL, Slice of Life. Today we're going to talk about 6 of my secrets on how I maintain a youthful appearance. Now, since I returned to Facebook and YouTube after years of absence, 7 or 8, 9 years, I've had a lot of you make comments, very complimentary, saying that I look the same, I haven't aged that much. And on the streets, I run into people I haven't seen in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And they say you haven't changed at all. You look exactly the same or even better. So I want to say thank you for all those wonderful comments and compliments. One gentleman that works with me, Brian Trice, he said to me last month, Arabella, you found the fountain of youth. So today we are going to go over 6 of my secrets on how I keep a youthful appearance. Of course, I do have a few more secrets, but I can't give them all the way at once. Then what kind of a relationship would we have? So today we'll go over 6 of those. But I do want to let you know that this isn't all about me. This is really about you and everyone. There is no human being on earth that embraces the idea of looking older, of aging, getting wrinkles, or having a body that's deteriorating over time. There is no one that wants that. So toward the end, that we should actively choose to stay young as long as we can. We're going to go ahead and give you some of my secrets, and hopefully some of those will help you. And if you want to share yours, we'll pull our successes together and create some kind of a plan that works for us, so we can stay young and healthy as long as possible. I also do want to say that this isn't just about superficial looking good. It's more about longevity and health. When I was very young, I saw my grandparents go into a nursing home with very, very bad health conditions. And I decided then, something in me, I didn't want to end up like that. And now many of you know that I work on a train. I work on a long distance train that takes folks from north to south to Florida. So I have an opportunity to interact with a lot of retirees, folks in their 60s, 70s, and 80s and beyond. And they are happy to tell me their rap sheet of health issues. And those are the things that I like to avoid. My youthful, staying ageless strategy isn't just about looking good. It's to maintain longevity and the integrity of my health as I go on into my years. All right. So I just want everyone to know that I'm not ashamed of my age, and it's not about that. Keep in mind that it is about looking good, because we're so connected to how we look as far as our self-esteem and a reflection of who we are. And also, we can't enjoy anything good in life if our bodies are feeling bad or hurting all the time. So looking and feeling good and youthfulness and agelessness is completely important to me. All right, so I do also want to say that this isn't about plastic surgery or procedures. I've not had any of those. I've not had a chemical peel or Botox. So if someone's looking for information or advice on that, this video isn't about that. These are 6 things that I do that cost nothing or very little, that has contributed to the compliments that I've been receiving, saying that I look young. All right, so enough about that. Let me start with the story, because I love stories. All right, so once upon a time, there was a young man named Benny. Now, Benny loved to party. He was a party animal, to his mother's great dismay. And he often fantasized that he could stay young forever, so that he could party every night forever in this eternal life. So one day, Benny goes to a beach party, and he decides to go for a walk along the shore in the moonlight. So as he's walking, he sees something in the sand, and he picks it up. And it's a small urn, nothing very special about it, and it's dusty. So he rubs off the dust, and what should happen but out would pop a genie. So the genie pops out and says, "For freeing me from this urn, I will grant you one wish, whatever you'd like." And Benny said, "Oh, great, that's not hard. I know exactly what I want. I want to stay young forever, that I may go from party to party, chasing wine, women, and song," which I love to do. And the genie says, "Not a problem, we can do that. But there will be one condition. And if you do not meet this condition, you may end up in an urn, trapped as I was." So the condition was that Benny, all his years, could not cut his beard or shave his beard. And Benny said, "Great, no problem, done." So he goes on his merry way to his next party. So party rolls into party, decade upon decade, parties and parties and parties. Decades roll into 100 years, 100 years to 200, and then 300. And one day, Benny says, "Man, this beard is really long and cumbersome. So much time has passed. Surely the genie has forgotten all about our deal." So that night before his next party, he decides he's going to cut off that beard. So he cuts off the length and he shaves his face. And as soon as he is finished, he realizes that he had been turned into a spirit and trapped inside a small urn, not unlike the one that he found several hundred years ago. The end. So you say, what's the moral of the story, Arabella? Well, the moral of the story is obvious. A Benny shaved is a Benny earned. A Benny shaved. Okay, so I thought that was funny, and it was a great story that leads into the segue to start my first secret. I knew you thought that was funny, so if you didn't, please laugh anyway. Love me anyways. All right, so let's get started. 6 secrets for how I keep my youthful appearance. All right, number 1 is this. It's kind of unusual. I've never heard of anybody doing it. And it's this. I do not celebrate my birthday. And I have not celebrated my birthday since I turned 21. Of course, people ask me, how come you don't celebrate your birthday? Well, for one, I grew up, and my family, we never celebrated birthdays, so it wasn't that hard. But there came a day when I decided to do it on purpose. And it's because of this. There is a collective conscience between human beings. There's actually a collective conscience between all species in the animal kingdom, and a collective conscience for them as well. All species. And there is one for the human species, overwhelming, probably conclusive evidence that this is true. That human beings have this collective pool of information that we tap into. So unless you, out of your own volition and intention, pull out of this matrix, you by default are tapped into this information base and share experiences that are common and whatever is dictated. So let's say the collective says when you're 20, you may be starting out your adult life. You're poor, don't have a lot of money in college, maybe you're partying a lot. In your 30s, maybe you're supposed to have children, be married, and starting a family. In your 40s, you're getting ready to start that road downhill. Maybe in your 50s, you're preparing for retirement and downsizing. And in your 60s, you are retired and living on Social Security, and on and on. So this collective conscience isn't a fixed state. It is an evolving organism. There was a time when it was unheard of to be a millionaire at the age of 20, self-made. And now we hear it all the time. So again, it's not a fixed thing. However, there is still a majority of information that dictates what someone's experience should be at a certain number, 20, 30, 40, 50, and on. And myself, as I said, out of my own volition and intention, have decided to pull out of that matrix and choose my own experiences for myself and not be dictated by the collective. So relinquishing my birthday was something that I did, and so I would tell my biological system to not mark the years or time. So I stay ageless, and therefore I quietly, silently, but very powerfully keep this aging process and the experiences that are supposed to come with it at bay. Now, folks do ask me, how do I ignore my birthday? It's just hard to pretend that it's not there. You know that there are certain days in the year that happen every year, like April Fool's Day or Groundhog's Day, but whoever said Groundhog's Day 2020 or 2010, that was the best ever. Some of these days are just something that happens every year, but no one attaches any specific year for importance to them. So I just experience my birthday as one of those days. It's just something else that happens in the year, but there is no year or date attached to it. Now there is another side to this coin. If I do want to stay ageless and timeless by relinquishing my birthday, I also have to relinquish certain things, such as maybe my previous successes and accomplishments. I don't tell or talk about what year I graduated high school. It's not that I'm ashamed of my age or whatever, but if I want to maintain this posture of agelessness and eternal youth, then I have to guard my heart from absorbing information that triggers me back into that matrix. Number one, I ignore my birthday, and number two, I avoid or eliminate things or situations where I bring past experiences into my conversation. Just to make it a very good point, I'll go ahead and say some of you, very few of you know that I was once an Arizona Cardinals cheerleader. Very few of you, maybe even less of you, know that I was once a runner-up in the Miss Korea pageant for Miss Universe. And I don't bring those up because if I do, the first thing I'm going to be asked is, what year was that, Arabella? And then I'm triggered back into that matrix of understanding and years and landmarking my times and my days. And so there are some sacrifices you have to make. Well, we talked about sacrifices before. In order to stay ageless and keep a healthy body and not experience what older people that have gone before me have experienced, it's worth it for me, completely easy, to just bypass that momentary bit of attention or glory or fame that I could have by telling everybody some of my successes. And also, I'm not defined today by what I've done, who I knew, and what I had. I'm defined partly by those experiences. They did help form who I am today, but I'm who I am because I'm a new creation in Christ, and I'm the person that I choose to be. And those experiences are just tools that help me to complete my identity of who I am today. So secret number one is twofold. I don't celebrate my birthday, and I don't put myself into conversations or situations where I have to mark my ears with a time and a date. Okay, so let's see, my second secret number two. This one's simpler and not so hard to explain. Secret number two is I never use soap on my face. You know, actually I shouldn't say never. Sometimes I'm somewhere abroad or out traveling and I have to wash my face, and that's all I have, so I use it. But as a general rule, day by day, I don't use soap on my face. I'm sure there are great soaps out there and some very bad soaps, but I don't use either of them. As a matter of fact, most every night I don't cleanse my face. Those of you who know that I work on a train, I sleep on the train 2 nights of every 5 nights. So when I'm on the train, I use this exfoliating towelette. Oh, here, I think I have it. All right, so I get this from Walmart. I think it's $3, and it's this green package. And it says exfoliating wet cleansing towelettes. So this is what I use when I'm on the train. And I use it at night before bed. And the only reason I do it is because it saves me a step in the morning when I wake up early and I have to put my makeup on and report. So I do that 2 nights out of every 5. And when I'm home, usually I go right to bed with whatever makeup that's on my face. And when I wake up in the morning, I'll use one of those towelettes before I put new makeup on for the day. But I don't use soap on my face. So if anybody wants to use that and try that instead of using all these cleansing products, it's about $3 at Walmart. All right, so that's my secret number 2. I do not use soap on my face. Okay, so secret number 3 is kind of attached, kind of harmonizes with this one. Most Asian women, I think, have this reputation, especially Koreans and Japanese, which I'm mostly Korean and part Japanese. People make comments that Korean and Asian women, especially Korean women, have this rigmarole that they go through, expensive and time-consuming and very, very intricate procedure to keep that glass face and that youthful appearance. And there are often comments that I hear that an Asian woman, like a Korean and Japanese gal, could be 20 or 60 or somewhere in the middle, but it's hard to tell because they take such good care of their skin. I'm not one of those women. So when I was young, maybe 13 or 14, my mother bought me this whole series of Lancome products, and there it sat at the corner of my desk. I looked at it like kind of a stray dog, didn't know what to do with it. And so after a few weeks, she bought me a different line, Estee Lauder, and there it sat in the corner of my desk, and I looked at it the same way. And so she eventually gave up on me. It might have been a good thing, but I never got into it. So I don't have any specific skincare routine. So fast forward, about 2013, I meet a friend. Her name is Ruthie White. Hi, Ruthie, if you're up there. So when I met Ruthie, I thought, wow, man, she looks so young. And she looked like, her skin looked like she was about 12 or 13. And she told me that she used this product, Oil of Olay. And I thought, man, this stuff really works. It's working for her. So you would have thought I would have gotten a hint and started using it, but I did not. Fast forward again to 2019. I have another friend that I work with. Her name is Maggie Cantor. Hi, Maggie. So we were talking one night, and she's putting this stuff on her face, and she told me this oil of Olay. I always use oil of Olay. So I thought, man, it works for these two women. I'm going to go ahead and start using oil of Olay. So I bought this product here. Where did I put it? Here it is. I wish I had a prop person bring these things to me. So here's this jar, and it says Olay Regenerist. And I use this. And I want you to know that I don't use it faithfully. I'm as faithful with that as I am with my face cleansing routine. Not at all. So I use a little dab maybe a couple times a week. And this jar lasts me 3 months. I don't even use it on my neck, just on my face, and every now and then, just when I think of it. But I do want you to know that I believe this stuff works, because I did have a little line here between my eyebrows, and since I've been using it, I do see that it's softened up. So I want to tell you that for whatever it's worth, it does work. And in contrast to L'Oreal, which has a similar packaging, I think it's called Revitalift. I bought that one by mistake maybe last year, and I realized that it didn't do the same thing for softening up that line, but this one does. So do I use any products? I do not. I leave my face alone. I use this one product, Olay Regenerist, just a few times a week. All right, moving right along to secret number 4. Now, secret number 4 is kind of different, because it's something that I actively and intentionally do week by week. And I believe I've been doing it since maybe 2005. So around 2005, I read a lot of books, went to the library all the time, and I got this one book. I believe the author's name is Denise Austin, and I think she was a fitness guru. I don't like to use that word because it has a negative connotation, but she had exercise videos and written books. And then this one book that I got, and she had a section where she does facial exercises to keep wrinkles at bay. And I like that idea a lot, because I see how much that the wrinkles around the face and around the eyes and around the lips and that neck, that I guess it's called a turkey neck. Please excuse me if anyone's suffering from it, but those are very, very active and in your face signs of aging. And I thought, man, if I could avoid that, I'd be willing to read this and give it a whirl. So out of that session, I took away 2 exercises, one that lifts the eyes and one that lifts the neck. So I don't do them rigorously like somebody goes to the gym 5-6 times a week, but I do it a couple times a week, some on my eyes, some on my neck. Just make sure I keep doing it several times a week, on and on. But then again, I've been doing it since 2009, several times a week since 2009, and I want to tell you, it adds up. You're building muscles in your eyes that keep things taut, and you're building muscles in your neck that keep things taut. So there's this thing that it's called the hooded eye, and some people are born with it. We see celebrities that are young and have a hooded eye, and they're beautiful. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the hooded eyes that come from aging. So I have a picture of Keanu Reeves from then and before. I actually have 2 pictures. And he was not born with hooded eyes, but you can see how he's starting to get the hooded eye because of age. And I just want to pull it up and do the exercises with him and for him. And we could get rid of that in 30 days or a couple of months. And so that is something that men can do if you want to avoid having eyes that have the appearance of aging. You can do these eye exercises just as well as any woman. As a matter of fact, any of my secrets a man can do just as well as a woman. Oil of Olay, not a hard thing to do. Just dab a little bit on your trouble spots, right? And do these eye exercises. And really, this is something that will give you power and momentum, because this is something you can do and you'll be able to see impact within 2 weeks or 30 days. If you do them every day, you'll see it. So the other exercise again is to lift my neck, and I did Google facial exercises to make sure that there were some out there, and there are YouTubers that have videos out there for both. So if you're interested, go ahead and look those up and give it a try. They do work. If you'd like me to make a video, it's probably going to be funny doing these exercises, but if you do want to see me do them, I'll make a video and we can all have a good laugh about it. But they do work. So I do have a picture of Christy Brinkley, who is absolutely beautiful still, but you can see that the aging effect on her neck. And also Marie Osmond, who is just eternally pretty. Her face is just so pretty. But there's some things you can't undo with the neck, even though her face looks like she's maybe 30 or 40, but the neck still shows it. And so the only way you can really combat it is, that I know of, is these exercises. So these two are very pivotal in keeping a youthful appearance. All right, so I hope that helped a lot of you. It helped me quite a bit. And thank you, Denise Austin, for your wonderful tip. All right, so let's see, where are we now? We are at secret number 5. Now this one really is a mystical, magical secret, and I call it my magic mirror. And so lest any of my Christian friends get upset, since magic is not a word that we use in the church, I just call it that because I don't have a better word for it. So I have this little mirror, and I call my little magic mirror, and it's this. It's nothing special. It's a old compact made by Revlon, and I dropped it somewhere at work, and the powder is cracked. I tossed that. The brush is gone. So all that's left is a little tiny mirror on top. And I keep this magic mirror in the same place, right behind me on my dining room table on a shelf. And every day at about the same time in natural light, right before I have brunch or breakfast, I will open this mirror and look at my face. And I'm only looking for one thing. I'm not looking for wrinkles, blemishes, or anything horrible. I'm looking just to see, do a maintenance check. And this is all I want to know, is that I look like I did yesterday. I figure if every day I look like the way I did the day before, and that eternal day goes on with the same impact and the same appearance, then I don't really have any aging that's happening, as long as every day I look like I did the day before. So same mirror, same place, same time, same daylight, natural light, and I'm looking just to see that I look the same as before, therefore maintaining my youthful appearance. All right, so that brings us to secret number 6. This is the last one that I'm going to share today. And this one may be the most important of all, because the other 5 are things that I chose to do with my own decision. Now, this one is not something that I made up or do, but it's something that I found in the Bible. And I'll go ahead and read it to you in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 34, verse 7 in the New King James. It says, "And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were not dim, nor his natural forces abated." So learning in the Bible that if God will do something for one person, then he'll do it for anyone. The Bible says he's not a respecter of persons. And everything else I do, secret 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are all kind of hanging on top of this one. In the Bible it says it's God's will for you to age and every year look older in the face and get older in your organs and have your body deteriorate. This is my will for you. Do not rebel against it. Then I would have no basis for 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. But because I see that it's God's will that he gives us certain choices, and we can stay young and active, or we can deteriorate. And here's another verse. It says in Isaiah 40, 29, 31, "He, God, gives power to the faint and increases the strength of the weak. Even youths grow weary and tired, and young men will stumble and they will fall. But those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint." So it plainly says here, even young will grow old. But even though you grow old, your strength does not have to fail. And in that I saw plainly that if I wanted to believe this with my faith, and I make a demand on God's power in faith, knowing that he is an active rewarder of those who diligently seek him for good things, he'll give it to me. So I make a demand on his power, believing, standing on this word. And the other 5 secrets are actions of faith. The Bible says if you believe, faith must have corresponding action. So the other 5 secrets are all hanging on this one, that God has given me a choice. If I want to have his strength, or if I want to deteriorate, that's my choice. And now you've got to understand that the decision to be ageless and to be healthy and have longevity can be made in a second, in a moment, in an instant. But the walking out, the enforcing of agelessness, is something that you do day by day. And it's not something that you must take violently or fight with great effort. I'm fighting against aging. No, it's not that. It's coming from a posture of youthfulness, a posture of eternity, and a posture of agelessness and timelessness. And from that, every day, enforce that agelessness, enforce that youthfulness. And it makes things easy, and it actually works better because you're depending on the power of God and showing corresponding action, which is actually something that helps me to believe day by day and keep it in the forefront of my mind. All right, so I hope that helped someone. And my channel is fairly new, so if you haven't subscribed, it would help me greatly. If you would, love to see you again. If you have any questions or comments or your own secrets, please tell me and let me know. I do have a handful of more secrets that are kind of unusual. Maybe I'll share those. If you haven't clicked like, please do so. Of course, all of those helps me and lets me know that I'm connecting with some of you, which I'm very, very happy to do. All right, so thank you for joining me. I do want to wish everyone longevity and youthfulness. And please give some of these a try. If you believe that I look youthful, then it's because these have contributed to it. So I hope it's a testimony that some of these things work. So I'll see you next time with another episode of SOL, Slice of Life. Thank you for joining me.